um, as it relates to novations, it's primarily you've got a deal that you want to traditionally wholesale, but the numbers don't fit perfectly. Maybe so you want to buy at 70% of the after repair value minus repair costs. The deal is at 75 or 80%. You walk away. Now with the novation, you don't need to walk away.
Okay, so when I called you,
because now you can sell the property for more. So they're at 75 or 80. You go ahead and write the contract.
so when I called you up there and asked you about that source, you said no, that's a they're
Which-
wholesalers. So I asked you about market.
Oh,
so numbers not gonna work.
No.
Oh.
Now keep in mind with all that we do as investors, all that we do, we need to have a willing participant as a seller. Seller's got to be a willing participant. In your case, with Market Pro, a professional investment
you
company,
gotta do it right up the top.
they're not going to allow you to do
Yeah,
that.
right, there.
And they're the ones that are going to have to do that. You know what I mean? They're the ones, they're the wholesaler.
Yeah, right. But they don't work not because of cost, but because of the time that you need to do this. They're not gonna let them. They're not gonna. Their time.
No, they're
their time
not.
Is what they're not
No,
gonna allow.
so we've got to find our own deals, and then we've got to be the contract holder. So here's how you find the deals. You can find creative financing deals on the MLS. And so what many people don't know is on the MLS, there's a field for creative financing. Those of you guys who have access to the MLS, there's a field for that. Now, if you don't have the MLS, you can get privy.com, Privy, which is the MLS. There's a field on Privy for creative financing deals. And then if you were to go to PropWire, you guys write this down, propwire.com. You need a pen?
No, I keep that. I see the data.
Either PropWire, or PropStream.com. The difference between the two is, and if they're similar, the difference in the two is PropWire is free. Now on PropWire and PropStream, there's a field for creative financing. So you can pull all the deals in a particular, let's just say county or zip code, that the seller's already saying to the world, we're offering creative financing, whether it's subject to seller financing. It's already on there. Now, so that's where you find them. So where else do you find them? Somebody tell me who are the motivated sellers? Who are our motivated sellers? Who's pre foreclosures? People who are
Loss of job.
people who lost their jobs. What else? Probate. Who else is motivated to sell?
Divorce.
Divorce. Who else?
Out of town, who don't want to deal with the house.
Out of state homeowners can be motivated to sell.
Right.
Anybody else?
Pre-foreclosure.
So there's probably at least 10, 20 different what we call data points that we can find of motivated sellers. So if you're not finding them on the MLS, you're not finding them on PropStream or PropWire, what you need to do is build a list and put all these data points in there. We call it, we're stacking data. So we want to stack the data of people that are pre-foreclosure, probate, divorce. We're stacking all that data up into a list. And then we can either use AI tools to look at that list and give us and predict within an 89% success rate who are the sellers who are going to be selling within the next 30, 60, 90 days. That's called a predictive data list. Now, PropWire does that. PropStream does that. But what we've been doing is we've just been casting a net and just sending postcards out to a zip code. And so we've got to stop doing that. We want to be able to predict our outcome. And the way to predict our outcome is we want to stack the data of people that are in the categories of people who need to sell their houses fast and have a predictable outcome for ourselves. Now, once we get the list, what do we do with the list? We call them. What else? We send postcards to them. Yeah. And so now we're marketing to that predictive list at least once or twice a month. Now we're predicting our outcome. And for, let's say, every 7 appointments, we get a deal. And that deal, if we're doing a novation, we should be averaging about $30,000 a deal.
So can you do that just with the use of PropWire, or you need more tools than that?
I think PropWire and PropStream is a good start. I would recommend PropWire. It's free. It's not as intuitive as, you guys write this down, as like a data flick.
Data flick.
Flick, F-L-I-K.
Okay.
Dataflick.com. So dataflick.com or 8020 REI. 8020REI.com. Now, 8020 REI, Real Estate Invest. Now, the difference between Dataflick, REI, 8020 REI, and Audantic, the difference is those companies use data scientists. The data scientists pull the list, put them in, and then the computers, they call it machine learning, pulls that list and can predict. But on top of that, they use AI tools to be able to give you a list of homeowners that will be selling within the next 30, 60, 90 days within an 89% success rate. Now, because of that, those lists are expensive, like $2,500 a month. Audantic, you got to pay for the whole year up front. Yeah, AUDANTIC.
Okay. Audantic.com or just Audantic?
Yeah, Audantic.com. So that's how we predict our success as real estate investors. We've got to spend the money, but the way we do it is we take it in baby steps. We go with the free data.
Okay.
Then we step it up a little more and maybe going to, write this down, REI Print Mail, reiprintmail.com. So they have the predictive data list also, and they have the postcards to send out. So they're a postcard mailing company, but what they also do is they pull the predictive data list. And so you give them the county, the zip code, whatever, and then they'll mail out for you. Okay? And they're not as expensive. Their lists are about $1,000. But overall, to send out the postcard is 75 cents. Now, one other fun fact real quick is the postcards, we have to be strategic with the postcards. And the postcards that get opened the most are the check postcards, the check letters. You guys know what I mean by that? Huh? It looks like a check, and just in case they were slipping, you open that up, right? Just in case.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a check. You know it's not a real check, but just in case you open it up. Am I the only one that does that?
No, no.
Huh?
I take mine to the bank.
Keith takes his to the bank.
The teller can get
So,
this
so,
done.
but Greg, a
Those are the number one.
a postcard wouldn't be better where you don't have to open it up? That's not better than an envelope?
Mhm.
Let's check.
Check. This, can you just write it down, Dave?
You can check what?
Check mail.
It's called, yeah. That's what you guys want. That's what we want. Those get opened up, okay? So if we combine the predictive data along with the check, they get opened up, and then there's a certain percentage of the time that you're going to get a call, and a certain percentage of those appointments, you're going to close. And so with all the information I just gave you, your success rate should be a lot higher. Now, to Dana's point, you might want to change up the postcards, because if they keep seeing the same thing, if I keep seeing the same thing, I may or may not open it again. And I think George would probably still think they might be slipping a little bit, and he's going to open it anyway. And so to Dana's point, you may want to 1 month have the check, and then the next month, maybe the big postcards, because those are successful. Yellow letters are successful also.
Yellow letter? What's the yellow?
Everybody know what I mean by yellow letter?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Who's got a yellow letter pad? Huh? So it looks like a legal pad. It's a letter that looks like a legal pad, but they like write on it for you because it looks real. It looks more personal. You guys with me? Yeah. But as an initial matter, you want to go with the checks. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Comments? See some old faces?
So Greg, if we go back to predictive data just for a second, is an example of what these big companies do. Let's say they're able to search on people with an adjustable mortgage. And so they know that in a certain time that rate has jumped or whatever, and that may force the seller to sell because maybe they can't make the payments anymore.
Yeah.
Is that an example of predictive?
I think that's stacked in there too.
Right.
So all those things are stacked in there. And then what the bigger data companies do with their data scientists is they use the AI tools to go in and predict, okay, on a week ago, this house got a code enforcement violation because they're getting all the courthouse data. 2 weeks ago, this particular house got a pre-foreclosure note. And then just yesterday, something else happened. So now they're able to use the AI tools to go out and say, here, you need to call them right now. And so we've got to be able to predict our outcome. And they do it, like, I didn't know until I studied this stuff that like data and data scientists and all that's important. If we could predict from Marvin from Loan Depot, who's ready to refinance and use AI tools for that and give Marvin a list of people that are ready to refinance like now, we can predict that. You know how much money Marvin would make? We would never see Marvin. Right, Marvin? Marvin, stand up and introduce yourself.
That's why I'm here. Marvin calls the Loan Depot guys. So I'm the lender who works with them. So any questions?
Yeah,
I'll come to the front.
I asked you a question.
What's up, Marvin?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
Marvin, stand right here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, some of my pre-foreclosure clients, right?
Yeah.
Say if they don't want to, sell. A lot of them don't want to sell. You know what I mean?
They want to hold on to it. They want to try to catch up.
And they got a lot of equity.
Okay.
Is there a way they can refinance? And like, I know their credits be like
That's a great question. So it means that they're behind on the mortgage, right? No, simply because they don't allow more than 2 times late in 24 months.
Gotcha.
So pre-foreclosure, typically they already at that point,
But
right?
like, would they be able, I don't know if you do DSCR loans like that type
Yeah, I
of-
do. I do the DSCRs.
So let me ask you this, if they was to do like that route and act like they had a door, wrote up a lease or something like that, and say they had a tenant, because basically DSCR.
Can you guys hear him?
Go. I mean, I'm just reaching for real. I don't know. I mean, I'm
Can you
just trying to think.
reach with them too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of other strategies, right? Because a lot of pre-foreclosure people, my thing is just try to help people. You know what I mean? Not try to get everybody's house. You're not going to win everybody's house. You're not going to sell everybody's house. So
these are for the folks that want to keep their house.
This for the people who want to keep
behind,
their house.
struggling,
They don't care.
whatever it
They
is.
owe. They say, look, I'd rather go through a bankruptcy, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I want to keep my house. So the thing is that my question is, if they were to say, look, I got my cousin about to rent my house and he gonna pay me this X amount of dollars a month. And now he got a lease.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can he do a DSCR refinance?
That's halfway for the DSCR, but DSCR do look at credit. That's the only thing that they look at.
Right.
So when we're doing a DSCR, so DSCR is for investors, really. It's a stated product. It's one of the only products right now in the market that's stated. So we don't need your tax returns. We don't need no W-2s. As a matter of fact, you could be unemployed. We don't care. You just need to show us that you have the down payment in the bank account. That's it. And we look at your credit score. We don't look at your credit history, just your credit score. It's a simple loan for investors, mainly for investors.
What's the down payment?
20%. So if you have a 20%, you're good to go.
Question, are the rates lower than going to hard money?
Yes, it is. It's lower than hard money, and the points are lower as well compared to hard money.
I have a question.
A big difference with hard money.
Do you loan to houses that are deeded to a land trust? Because many lenders don't do that. So the house is the deed is tied to a land trust. Would you loan on a house that's deeded to a land trust?
So to the
Yeah, I think. you
Yeah,
guys do.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
It's
As long as you
basically-
get sign off.
It's basically the same as, do you finance
I mean,
LLCs? It's the
LLC,
same-
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same
LLC
thing.
is standard. I think that's like what you typically look for. It
Yeah,
has to be a
business.
nice company, but the whole land trust concept is something that not everyone is in sync with, so they don't
Yeah.
understand how to loan to it.
Yeah, because
Yeah, most lenders
it's not
do.
common.
Most lenders do.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the DSCR is a really good one. Honestly, one of my favorite for investors because you get to finance more than one property at once. So say, for instance, you end up finding, 2 great deals and you want them both because you have the down payment. You want to close them the same day. We could do them simultaneously. So we process it. It's the only product would allow you to do that. 2, 3, 4 properties, it's okay. We get it done.
Down payment.
Yeah. So what we look at is the reason why it's called a
Yes.
DSCR is the debt service coverage ratio, right? So what we look at how much you're collecting in rent versus how much you're paying per month
Okay.
for your mortgage payment, right? But the good thing with this product, you could go interest only on it. You could do ARM. You have a lot of flexibility as an investor. We're looking at you as an investor.
Right.
So we're thinking you know what you're doing.
So you're not gonna renovate on a DSCR?
No.
Unless,
be- that's to be-
unless, well, go ahead, you
You
might be
No,
answering.
I just wanted to ask a question. Is it an exception to the 20% rule? I mean, maybe based on
Maybe less.
credit,
Some
if the credit's good, would you still need to have that 20% per property?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
So look, you guys, what we primarily use a DSCR loan as investors to refinance. And so you guys are familiar with the Burr method, right? We're gonna buy the property right. We're gonna renovate the property, rent it, and then repeat the process. So we're buying as investors, we're generally buying the properties using a hard money loan or cash or some other form, private lender. And so we're buying the property that way. And then we're going to renovate the property. We're going to then rent the property. Now our rents have to exceed by 70% the mortgage that we get for the DSCR loan.
Yep.
If that can happen, now we walk into the DSCR loan, we're not putting down 20%. How much are we putting down? We're not putting down anything.
Zero.
We don't put down
That's the
anything.
strategy. That's the exact
That's why we use DSCR loans, so that we can refinance out of that BRRRR into permanent financing without putting down any money.
And how do you not put down any money? What?
Because the lender's going to look at the debt service ratio,
Yeah.
and as long as the mortgage payment is more than the rent is more than the mortgage payment, then we're good.
You usually got
By I think it's 70% of the mortgage payment.
So
I even go up to one, so which means that if it's identical, you know, the rent and the mortgage payment, I'll still get it done.
So how do you all look on room rentals? I know some lenders don't like room rentals. How do you?
What kind of rentals?
How room rentals? Room.
Room, like you're renting like rooms in a house?
like midterm.
Oh, we consider that one unit. It's a one house. Yeah. So if it's just one house and 10 bedrooms, we're looking at how it's registered with the county. So if it's registered as a 1 unit property, meaning a single family home, then we're not counting. We can't separate the rooms. We only can provide financing on that one.
No, I understand. No, I'm saying as far as the qualified. If I'm room renting.
Okay, you're breaking out
Do
the rent.
you all frown? Some lenders don't like it. They don't like room renting.
So here's the way out of it.
Yeah, you can with DSCR. Go on and answer that. Yes, yeah, you can. You could
Well,
definitely-
generally you can. So generally a lender will not finance that.
Yeah.
But here's how you get around it. So let's say you have a house with 5 rooms, right? You have one lease, and the lease is in an LLC. You with me? So the leaseholder is an LLC. Now we have members of the LLC who are renting the rooms. So now when you go to Marvin looks at your lease, and there's only one person renting that property, and it's the LLC.
Yeah.
That's why, and just FYI, we never ever tell the lender that we're doing room rentals. Okay, for everybody. And Dana knows this. So I don't know why Dana would bring that up in an open forum. I'm recording this online. Dana, we need to talk after this. We never tell them.
Yeah.
I understand.
But
I've got other lenders listening to
I
this,
forgot who was.
and it was Dana, the one that said it.
I got one more question. So it's almost like his, but so I understand they won't really generally do it with
No.
that. But what about midterm rentals? Like somebody
It's the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Put in the LLC.
Okay. So
The leaseholder is an LLC,
okay.
and then you can have members of the LLC.
Okay.
yeah.
What's the highest LTV you offer on those loans?
The DSCR is 80%. That's the max LTV. And the good thing with the DSCR, we'll finance it under the LLC. So you don't need to switch it over to your name to get a financing. We'll finance it under the LLC. So that's the good thing. So
But it depends on the credit score, though.
Your credit score is a
Between
big
70
thing.
and 80.
Yeah, your credit score is a big thing. We'll go down to a 640, as a matter of fact, on the DSCR. And so 642, whatever. Right? So based on your credit score, it's going to tell exactly what the interest rate is when we're pricing it out.
Are there any benefits to having a higher credit score?
Better rate all the time. Better rate all the time. I tell all my buyers, better your credit scores, the lower your rate. The lowest rate,
At the moment.
well, currently right now, the lowest rate at par, you're looking at 8.25. And that's at par, meaning that there's no points associated with it. So if you want to buy the rate down, so now we can take a look at that. And also keep in mind, we have the interest only. So that rate's going to vary slightly because you're only paying the interest, not the principal. So as an investor, that allows you to put more money in your pocket. So that's an option to think about when you're using DSCR. Take a look at the interest only option, and also take a look at the ARM, because the interest rate on the ARM is slightly lower than the fixed. So on the ARM, instead of that 8.25 rate, you're down to 7.25. 625 last time I checked.
So those interest rates are high.
Prepayment penalties.
It's going to carry premium penalty.
Okay, good.
So you get to buy that out though. You could do a 1 year, a 2 or 3 years. So talk to your finance guy, talk to me, ask me all the questions, because an investor, you have to understand the process. So ask me all the questions.
We got one more question from Marvin. James?
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Bennett?
Good.
How everybody doing? You mentioned 7% of the payment of the mortgage payment. Is that what I heard, 7%?
Yeah, interest only. Interest only, right?
It's a 70% of the mortgage payment.
No, you said,
I think you're talking about the DSCR ratio. I think he's
Yeah,
talking
when
about
you're talking about the rent versus.
the rate. Yeah. No, I said it could be, no, it could be actually one. So to me, that one, it means that the rent is the same as the mortgage payment. We'll still get you approved.
Okay, so let me ask you a different way then. What percent of the income that is generated, do you 75% of the income, the rental income, do you look at it like that as well?
yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
So what
75%.
Of the income
Yeah.
generated?
It's always going to be 75% because we're always going to factor a 0.25, that's a quarter percentage vacancy, right? Because we expect no property. It would not be great if your property is rented all through the year. All your properties, as an investor, that's what you're looking for. But is it really ideal if you own 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 properties around?
We will hope.
Not, right? It's usually about 90%.
Mhm.
Typically, that's a great number.
One more
Yeah.
question. Can I get one more question? So if I have 5 properties
Yeah.
and those properties, because you're gonna want to see what my other properties are doing, am I right or wrong?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so if those are room rentals, is that gonna kick me out? I'm not talking about the property that I've asked for a loan, I'm talking about the ones that I.
Nah, I don't think so.
No, so I think we're looking at it wrong. We're looking at it wrong.
They gonna ask
Don't-
about your assets.
Don't look at it as a room rental. It's just for you, it's just a regular rental. You got to look at it that way, because then you're going to ask the wrong questions. And so the question is, like it's James's question, what percentage of the total rent has to cover the mortgage? And the answer is 70 or 75%. But I think we're looking at it wrong. We can't look at it as a room rental. As investors, it's not a room rental. It's just a rental that we're generating cash flow.
Yeah,
Now, whether we
get rid
have
of the
one
rooms.
person in there or 10 people, it's just a property that we're generating revenue.
Yeah.
And the leaseholder, the person's name that's on the lease, is an LLC with members. And so we've got 5 different members of the LLC that are renting out these 5 rooms, right? And then when one of the members goes away, now we've got documentation or form that says, okay, this member is no longer part of the LLC. And then we can add members, meaning we can add people who are going to come in and rent a room. And so that's how we have to look at it, because we may want to refinance at some point. And most lenders won't let you, they frown upon room rentals, that kind of thing. But Marvin will be here to the end. Are you going to be here?
I'm going to be here to the end.
So if you guys have any
take a
more
card
questions-
and please call me or send me an email. Even if you're not doing business right now, still send me the information so I could save it. And again, I know who you are. We can communicate. Because then, as an investor, you're going to have a ton of questions about money. Forget the word finance, money, right? Because as an investor, you need what? Money, right? So you got to be connected with lenders to get the money. So sometimes let's use the basic terms. Don't overthink it. Don't over anything. You can't create wealth without other thin ear.
And Marvin will be here too at the
I'm your
end.
lender, so I'm the guy to call.
I'm trying to.
All your questions.
Give Marvin a hand. Way to go, Marvin. One last thing real quick on Marvin. So he just talked about DSCR loans. He does deal with investors, but then he also deals with real estate agents, and he does residential loans as well. He's from Loan Depot. I think they're the second largest lender. So they've got all the programs. Before we actually get started with the creative financing, I know that there's a number of real estate agents in here. Most of you guys are aware of the NAR commission settlement. There's about 4 different pillars of things that we need to do as agents to overcome that and actually thrive and make more money. We're going to probably talk about them as we go. But one of the pillars is generating multiple streams of income. And so as an agent, now we've got to start thinking outside the box. Who are the JV partners or who are the affiliates that can help us with our business? Can we do co-branding with a company like Loan Depot that's going to pay for some of our marketing? Can we, when we have a buyer that closes, can we also get that same buyer? Can we maximize that opportunity and get that same buyer to buy solar panels? And if so, that's an extra $1,000, could be $3,000, could be $6,000, depending on your level of participation that you can make per client. So your client just closed, you made $10,000. Wouldn't it be nice to make for that same client, for just a very little bit of more work, make an extra $3,000? And then there's other streams that we can do alongside of that one client. So we've got to maximize that opportunity. And George Scott is here from our in-house solar company, and he's just going to come up here for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, and just give us a taste of what solar, what he has to offer. And then he's going to be leaving, but he's going to leave his flyers here. 2 minutes, George.
Good morning. Just like Greg said, it's another stream of income. Investors, hey, you guys understand that there's a 30% tax credit from the federal government. This is your property, you can be able to get that tax credit by putting solar panels on your property. Real estate agents, like Greg said, refer them to me if you're interested in learning how to do the business. We'll train you to get the full commissions, or if you just refer them to me, up to $3,000. It's all about being able to help the client, help the homeowner, but at the same time, make sure that we have another stream of income coming in. And take the pressure off of you, refer them to me. I do all the heavy work, okay? And we offer a vacation package to anyone who just sat down with us and just let us give them an idea of what it's gonna take to switch from electric to solar. And you know it's on everybody's mouths. And let me ask you, just show of hands, who have not got a phone call from somebody selling solar? Everybody have you got a call from somebody selling solar? Everybody do. So why not keep it in-house, refer them to me, and we all make some money and help the homeowner at the same time and the investor. Okay?
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
And so we've got to start thinking multiple streams, you guys. And this is just one stream, especially for the realtors in here, because it's estimated that your real estate commission is going to be cut 25% to 50% in the next 2 to 3 years. And so it's okay if we have a solution. And like I said, it's kind of, in my opinion, like 4 different pillars of focus that we need to have in order to not just overcome that, but exceed what we were making just because we've changed our focus. And then the multiple streams of income is one. The other is obviously real estate investing. And so that's what we're here to talk about now, the investing. And you cannot be afraid to invest. I will JV with you on a deal. You find a deal. One of our agent investors found a deal last week and just simply referred that to me, and we closed the deal and we split the commission. I closed on a deal yesterday in North Carolina, and I just did all the due diligence. Someone referred it to me, and he's got a similar story. Someone referred that deal to me, and we closed on it yesterday. In that case, I did what's called virtual wholesaling. And so I found a cash buyer there just on a Facebook site. I had pictures. I had the seller hang a lockbox. It was referred to me by one of my agents, and we closed that deal yesterday. And so if you guys, so a lot of what we're going to talk about today and talk about in the future, especially with creative financing, it might take 1 or 2 deals for you guys to really get it. But let's not let that opportunity pass us by. We're happy to joint venture with you, more so as a learning experience, but then also make money. Andre is one of our agents. He's very successful real estate investor in a very short period of time. You just recently did a deal in North Carolina too.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about it?
Hi, my name is Andre Cooper. I'm a realtor with Great Bennett Realty Solutions. I'm also a real estate investor, and I buy houses. I'm currently working on 3 properties in Baltimore, Maryland, but I did just do a subject to deal where I took over the individual's mortgage and they signed over the deed to me in North Carolina. And I got a tenant in there, but and they're paying me significantly. They're paying about $1,200 a month. But let me just tell them the story. So okay, so how I found this deal.
Keep it short.
Okay, keep it short. I found this deal just like we come to these events. I ran into a colleague who referred me to her coworker that works at an apartment building with her. And he's a maintenance man anyway, but he's had some health issues. And he had a property in North Carolina that he planned on moving down there and retiring. He had a tenant in there from his late wife who passed, her son, his stepson or whatever it is. But anyway, he moved out and he's just going to sell it. So the house was worth about $160,000. He only wanted $80,000. So I said I was going to go ahead and give him the $80,000. I said I was going to wholesale it and give him the $80,000. So he only owed $47,000 on the mortgage. He had a 1.875% interest rate. So the interest rate was just like crazy to me. So what happened? I spent 2 to 3 weeks almost begging this guy. I was like, man, look, man, you know, I want to buy this house and I'm going to buy this house, but I would rather take over your mortgage because, you know, right now I'm getting 9.5% interest rates when I'm doing hard money loans and stuff like that. And I would rather go ahead and take over your mortgage. You got a 1.875% interest rate. The guy he works he does maintenance at the apartment. He works there, so he lives there for free. He said, man, I'm not really pressed for no money like that. He kept saying that. So I said, well, look, let me just go ahead and give you a down payment and I'll pay you monthly, you know what I mean, for the proceeds that's due and everything like that. And, you know, let me just take over the mortgage. And I say I'll probably go ahead and do a balloon payment, which may pay it off in about 3 years. I may or may not. But, you know, most of the time we probably will pay it off in 3 years. That's what I told him. And he said, man, I just want to just sell it, man. I don't do stuff like that. You know, I mean, ain't no point for me to do that. And, you know, me and him had the same last name. I said, man, let's go to lunch, you know, let's do whatever. I took him to lunch, you know, we talked and I talked to him for a couple more weeks. But long story short, he said, man, look, just send me the paperwork. And I promise you, I was over there across the bridge in Alexandria, Virginia. He was over there on Berkeley Road in Fort Washington. And I said, all right, I'm on my way right now. Boom. I was at Navy Federal line. I left out the line, went up there, and I took a blank contract. I carried a couple contracts with me. He signed the contract. So I sent it over to the title company. And what I did, I had the title company write up a promissory note. Guy I deal with all the time, but he wrote up a promissory note. So I'm paying him $80,000. I told him I was going to give him $10,000 down, which means I owe him another $20,000. So I took the $20,000 and I amortized that over 30 years at a 3.5% interest rate. So which means I'm paying him $92.71 a month. You know what I mean?
You're paying him a little more than the mortgage payment.
No. So the mortgage payment is $548.73. That's the mortgage payment. I got a tenant paying $1,200. I'm also paying him $92. So I'm paying the mortgage $547.73, and then the $20,000 that I owe him. Like I said, I advertised that over 30 years, 3.5%. So that payment is $92.71. If he passes, then I got to pay his daughter. You know what I mean? But
so you pay, okay.
Right. So he agreed to that. We wrote it up. We did everything. I told him I was going to give him his money. He got to sign the deed over immediately. I'm going to record it. So what happened, I signed it. He signed over the deed right there, settlement. I recorded it. I promise you, up until the day we was doing it, he said, man, I don't know if I really want to do this, man. I don't want to do this. I was just waiting for a clear title so I could just go ahead and go to settlement. You know what I mean? I got that clear title, went on the settlement. Even a couple of days after, he said, man, I wish I would have just sold it, this and that. But anyway, long story short, it worked because now I'm cash flowing a couple $100 a month. You know, like I'm cash flowing about $400 a month because I got camera on there, blink camera, I got internet. You know what I mean? And I'm paying a property manager $120 a month because 10% of the rent. It's in Henderson, North Carolina, and it's a 3-hour drive. So you know, I just felt more comfortable.
So the best thing is you didn't have to go out. You bought the property. You didn't have to go out and get new financing.
I didn't have to get any financing.
You were able to keep that interest rate on the property.
I was able to keep that interest rate.
It doesn't need plumbing or HVAC. It doesn't need any of that
It
stuff.
didn't need none of that.
So you're able to move in a tenant and get the cash flow.
I promise you, me, my wife, I didn't have no contractors down there. So I got my guy. I got my guy from Baltimore. What happened? Oh, he tried to break it down.
No, he was speaking to me.
I got my guy from. So I didn't have any contractors down there. I knew I had to paint because it was a tenant just moving out of there. So what happened? I got my guy from Baltimore. I sent him on a MARC train, picked him up from New Carrollton Station. Him, me, his wife, and my wife went down there with 2 gallons of paint. I mean, 5 gallons buckets of paint. And I went on down there and we pulled a 24 out. We painted. I swear we got there late too. We were supposed to get there early. We got there. We wanted to get there at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. We didn't get there till 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. So we worked, painted, did everything. I changed a couple of light bulbs. I had to hang the internet. I had to do everything.
The property manager found the tenant?
Huh?
Who found the tenant?
So yeah, the property manager found the tenant. I was actually finding my own people, but he wound up, it came in the clutch of it because I was ready to fire him. But he wound up coming with a tenant who's a good tenant, to be honest with you. I mean, this person don't complain. You wouldn't even know they did, man. So, so the guy, I think after this year, I probably let the property manager go because I probably don't need him, honestly. But you know, it's working right now. You know what I mean? The property I got equity. I got the appreciation every year. That's leverage for me. You know, like I told you, I'm working on 3 properties. Huh?
That was a good deal for you.
Yeah, I'm working on 3 properties right now. Like, you know what I mean? If any given time I say, you know what, I want to pay something off or pay something down, I can sell that and then, you know, or just keep it forever. You know what I mean? And buy more property because I'm starting to see that market is very hot out there and a lot of investors are buying Henderson, North Carolina.
I think the point is, let's not let any opportunity pass us by. You might be thinking you don't have the wherewithal to buy a property or take down a property, and it could be in Henderson, North Carolina. But I do, he does, and some of you guys do as well. And so let's utilize all the resources to take down these properties. And so we do joint ventures, as I said earlier, where I will do all the paperwork, all the negotiating, so that you can make money. And so we do that. And so doing a lot of JVs will give you the opportunity to learn. And so one of the strategies that we'll talk about kind of briefly as it relates to creative financing is subject to. And most of you guys have heard of subject to. What subject to simply means is we're going to purchase the property. We're going to go to settlement. We're going to purchase the property, but we're going to buy the property subject to the existing mortgage. We're going to leave the existing mortgage on the property, and then we're going to take over the property. We're going to go to settlement. We're going to deed the property into our names. We're going to leave that mortgage on the property. That's what a subject to is. Now, one of the reasons why we do it is because what Andre just said, we don't have to go out and get financing. When Marvin came up here and talked about interest rates at 8-point-something%, we want an 8-point-something%, or do we want a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4% mortgage to take over. That's what we want. And so here's what we're looking for. And I kind of outlined earlier where we find these deals. But what we're looking for is motivated sellers that want to sell that have a mortgage on the property. Now, if they don't have a mortgage on the property, we find a motivated seller, they don't have a mortgage on the property, what type of creative financing strategy do we use? We use seller financing. Because we can't use a subject to because there's no mortgage to take over, right? So no mortgage, the first thing we think of is you got a motivated seller, you've been sending out postcards, you've been doing cold calling, however you find your deals, and the seller has no mortgage. The first thing you should be thinking is, you shouldn't be thinking, I'm sorry, Marvin, but you shouldn't be thinking I'm going to call Marvin. You should be thinking, I'm going to ask the seller to be the bank for me. And I'm going to try to negotiate an interest rate of, whatever, 5%, 4%, whatever the seller will do. And I'm going to try to put down the least amount of money possible. Now, if we find a motivated seller who has a mortgage on the property, first thing I think of is, I want to take over that mortgage. I want their mortgage. I want Andre's mortgage. Dwayne's mortgage to be my mortgage. I want to take his mortgage over. And at a later date, once interest rates come down, which now is probably a year and a half, probably 2 years. Let's say that Dwayne has a mortgage on his property. He's distressed. His house may be getting ready to go to foreclosure. Just look at Dwayne. Doesn't he look like his house might be going to foreclosure?
Don't worry, I'll be calling.
Dwayne, don't take that.
We just joking.
That's what
I'm gonna approach Dwayne and say, can I take over your mortgage? Here's what I want to do. I'd like to, Dwayne, I'd like to take over your mortgage. I'd like to give you whatever, $10,000 down, and maybe even bring the mortgage current. let's say he's a little distressed, he's behind in his mortgage. I'd like to bring it current. Now, what's his alternative? And in many cases, the alternative is the house is going to go to foreclosure. Oftentimes, they don't have the money to fix the property up, to sell it on the open market. And so what is he going to do? He's looking for a creative strategy. And so you've got to know what creative strategy to bring to him. But let's say that Dwayne, it's a situation where his mortgage balance is $200,000. So I want to take over the $200,000. But let's say that he's got $400,000 in equity, where his house could sell for $600,000 in as-is condition. What do we do then? I'm going to take over the 200. We've got 400 left over in equity. I want to give him some of that equity. What do I do? How do I give it to him? So we do, write this down, you guys. We do the hybrid method. What's the hybrid? So we do a hybrid, meaning on his mortgage balance, we take that over, and then on the 400,000, let's say on the 400,000, we give him whatever, 10,000, 50,000. The remainder of that, we're going to ask him to take over a note where we're going to pay him every month. Does that make sense? That's called the hybrid strategy. You going to do it for us, Dwayne? He's thinking about it.
So with the seller,
negotiable.
Yes, it's all negotiable.
with the seller finance, it's just a matter of doing the paperwork, and now the seller is the buyer.
On that portion, the seller's the bank. And so that's subject to, you guys. Here are the benefits. It's in your handout. There's no new financing. And so as investors in this market that we're in now, we don't want to have to go out and get financing in this market, because as Marvin just said, the financing is going to cost us over 8%. We don't necessarily want to do that. Now, if interest rates are lower, as they were about a year or so ago, 2%, 3%, we may say, no, Dwayne, we're going to go ahead and get our own financing. We're going to take advantage of the current rates because there's really no benefit of taking over your mortgage. There's speed and flexibility on a subject to. We can close like within 2 weeks. As soon as the title work is over with, we can close in 2 weeks. Traditional financing is going to take us 30 days, 45 days. So there's speed there. And then there's little to no down payment on a subject to. For us, we just have to ask one or two questions. Primarily, what is your mortgage balance? So I like to ask, what's your mortgage balance? I like to ask, are you current on your mortgage? I like to ask, why do you want to sell your property? And then from that, I can formulate what type of offer I want to make to see if they're willing to do a subject to. Now, if they're not, then there's other options like we talked about earlier. Because for me, I want to hold the property. I want cash flow. I want equity and appreciation. So this is a great way to do it. All right, some important considerations, you guys. You got to do your due diligence. You got to, number one, you've got to make sure that you do the title work. You're not buying a property that's got liens and judgments on the property. It is a little risky. You've got to make sure that you've got to do it in a way where the seller doesn't come back. A lot of people do a subject to, and they won't transfer the deed. And so I won't do that. I want to transfer the deed because if I don't, the judgment comes on the house, that's on me. So you definitely want to transfer the deed. And then you want to communicate well with the seller all along the way. I have a servicing company that I pay the servicing company to pay the mortgage for the to the mortgage company. And then I send a copy of that to the seller so that they know that the mortgage payment has been made.
Which one do you use, Greg?
Westar, was it Westcore? Yeah, Westcore. Now, in every mortgage, you guys, down here with the due on sale clause, there's what's called a due on sale clause in every mortgage. And that just simply means if the ownership of the property changes hands, the lender can call the mortgage due. To say, let's say you have a 30-year mortgage, you've been in that mortgage for 10 years. I do a subject to with Dwayne. The mortgage company finds out that I'm doing that either by the insurance policy changing or the payment to them has changed. It's coming from somebody else. They can say the mortgage is not due in 30 years. The mortgage is due now. That's called a due on sale clause. And so that's one of the negatives on a subject to due on sale clause. You guys with me? What are some remedies? How do we get around that? What are some remedies to the due on sale clause? So we can put Wayne, we should just have you up here. And so what most people do, I haven't done this, but what most people do is they have the seller put the property in a land trust. So they put it in a land trust. The trustee makes the mortgage payments. And then the seller assigns their interest in the land trust to me, the seller, and then they go away. And we continue to pay the mortgage company through the land trust. That's one way of getting around that. There's due on sale clause insurance, where you can buy an insurance policy equal to 1% of the sales price. So if the sales price is $400,000, you can buy a policy for $4,000 to protect you just in case the due on sale clause is triggered and the mortgage company calls the loan. And so what the mortgage company,
Does that?
say it again?
Would you have to know what company does that?
You can just Google it. I know Pace Morby has a company that'll do that.
I couldn't track it down though. I would have to know it.
I saw some this morning. I don't remember the names.
It's a bigger pockets.
But so the insurance company, what they do is they'll negotiate with the mortgage. If it's triggered, they'll negotiate with the mortgage company, or they'll just pay it off. They'll just pay off the mortgage for you. So you can buy insurance for it. And I think I recommend that. I think those are probably the two best ways to do it. And so when I got into business, there wasn't a lot of people doing subject twos. And back then we were calling them land installment contracts. But now with the advent of the internet, and there's a lot of people teaching subject to, like Pace Morby and a few other people. He's actually in my mastermind. With the advent of that, and then a lot of people are doing these subject twos in a way that they're doing them incorrectly. So they're triggering the due on sale clause, and the mortgage companies finding out about it. And now the mortgage companies have AI software where they can find out and figure out if the deed has changed hands, and then they're calling the mortgages due. There's a lot more people doing it. Huh?
I said, you put the little.
I mean, if you do it right, put in a land trust or get insurance, you're fine. Go ahead, Wayne.
I was going to say, one of the ways that they find out is if you don't do the insurance transfer the correct way and put everybody's name where it's supposed to be. And then, but the banks, they don't have a due on sale department. So like you said, AI is one way they're finding out, but they don't have somebody sitting in an office who's looking at all the deeds, making sure they all match. So it's rare, but it does happen.
I mean, I've never,
I never heard of one either.
huh?
I never heard of anybody that I've actually talked to being caught with a due on sale clause.
I haven't either, but it does happen nationwide.
So my question, since y'all know about this, so when it's time to switch your insurance to your insurance,
You have to add your name. You need to get a new policy. You add the old owner's name as an additional insured, and then this bank goes as the mortgagee.
okay. So if I wanted to go to my USAA, okay, so
It's just like you're adding your brother or whoever, but it's really going to be the owner.
right,
Two people on there.
right.
But when the bank gets that, they want to see if the person's name that's on the mortgage matches to the insurance.
Right, right.
Or if you do it in a trust, you just put the trust name on the insurance policy.
I do them in trust, and I still put their name on there just to be safe, just so they can see a name on the deed and a name on the insurance.
But you said name on the deed and name on the insurance. Well, their name is not on the deed.
Not on the deed on the
Yeah.
mortgage.
Okay, I
The
got
deed
you. I
of
got
trust,
you.
not the deed, ownership deed, the deed of trust.
I got you.
Okay, so with their name, quick question about that, with their name being on it, and if something goes wrong, do they have any right to anything?
You sign the paperwork up front that says if anything happens to the house, I'm putting a new policy, I get all the proceeds.
Nothing's going wrong. I just want to teach you guys what could go wrong and what you can do to prevent that. And so you've got to safeguard yourself when you're doing these, because there's a lot of opportunity. I've had a lot of opportunity over the years to do subject twos. We should be doing subject twos now. We should not be buying properties, investment properties at what Marvin is saying, over 8%. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be buying investment properties using different creative strategies, sitting on these properties until the interest rates come down. And like I said, it could be a year or two, which is fine. Could be 3 years, which is fine. Let's let the interest rates come down, and then we refinance out using what type of loan?
DSCR.
We refinance out using a DSCR loan. So now we're getting into permanent financing. We're going to pay off the existing mortgage, and we're not going to have to put any money down on that DSCR loan. because we've got enough equity. We can show through our servicing company, we can show that we've been making the payments, and the payments far exceed what mortgage payment Marvin's going to give us. And so is subject to right for you guys? How you guys feel about it?
Good.
And so there is a subject to contract, which I do have. And so you've got to make sure that you do these right. And so we do have the contracts that we use. It's been vetted by our attorneys. And so we can safeguard you there. And again, we'd love to JV with you guys. Really quickly, just to see if you guys have been paying attention. What are the benefits, and without cheating, what are the benefits to the buyer for doing a subject to? What's your benefit?
Lower interest rate.
Lower interest
No
rate,
down payment.
little to no down payment. Now, some of these you're going to have to put some money down. Seller's just not going to, Dwayne's just not going to say, yeah, just take over my mortgage. I've got all this equity. You just take over all of my equity. He's going to want something either now or along the way, or both, which you guys have to be willing to do. Any other benefits of subject to?
Fast close.
Fast close.
I said the biggest benefit is less interest to the creditor. So the mortgage holder, the bank, if you're going to the strategy where you're going for a lower interest rate, right?
Yeah.
You're paying back less interest. So it's more money in your pocket.
What's the, go ahead.
You're basically acquiring an asset with hardly anything down, or any, financing anything down, nothing basically.
The real route to wealth building, you guys, and to building generational wealth is asset accumulation. And so we just have to accumulate in many different ways as many assets as possible. That asset, that real estate asset, is going to do its thing. Every year, the value is going to go up. Values are going up now. Appreciation. In a year or two, guess what's going to happen? The appreciation is going to explode. It's going to explode when interest rates come down. When interest rates come down, our appreciation is just going to go through the roof. Tell me why.
Because there's a low supply right now, and then if you lower the rates, the people that have the houses with the low rates will buy new houses because they can get a similar rate that they have then.
Just like COVID.
Yep. And then there's not enough houses. I was telling somebody, there's not enough houses for the explosion. And so with supply and demand, when supply is low, which it is now, prices are going to go up. When interest rates come down, it's really going to explode, because now we got all these millennials that are sitting on the fence. We got all these homeowners who want to sell and then buy. They're sitting on the fence. And so we're going to have, I think it was told to me, at least $200,000 people not being able to buy houses because there's going to be that much shortage of housing, which means we need to accumulate as many assets as possible. And then in the next coming years, houses are going to appreciate back in like they did back in the early 2000s. In some areas like DC, at a rate of 20%, meaning you buy a house today for $400,000, 5 years from now, it's worth $800,000, 20%. But even if it appreciates at 10% of which they're doing now. And so we've got to figure out ways where we can keep money in our pocket, but still have asset accumulation. The only way to do this, you guys, is through creative financing. Seller financing, subject to lease options. That's what we should be doing. We taught seller financing the last time, subject to now. There's no reason why you should be afraid to do any of these things. I'm happy to field your calls. I'm happy to run through the paperwork with you. You have no excuse.
So quick question, is there, subject to, is there a closing?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It is a closing.
So
Any
think of
real
a
estate
subject
deal,
to as
yeah.
just another type of financing, just like with Marvin, where we're actually going to settlement.
So the closing cost does, I mean, that's,
Same. Yeah,
I
still
thought that
got
was one of the
closing
benefits
costs,
that you don't worry about.
yeah. So
the
you still
closing
have to
costs.
pay
You
closing
still-
costs.
And that's a
You
normal
still have,
closing.
yeah. But you still made out.
The closing costs will be a little bit less too.
Why
You
is
have no,
that?
Yeah,
you have
that's
no
true,
lender
too.
fees.
Why is that?
You have
Why
no
is
lender
that?
fees.
Yeah,
Title.
that's right.
And
It's
then
title
there
fee,
also is a line on the settlement sheet that says subject to.
Yeah.
So this is something that's been around forever.
Yeah.
So sometimes sellers, because I bought about 20 of them in the past year.
Wow.
And sometimes sellers think it's illegal or it's against the rules or whatever. And I bring a settlement sheet to show them. Look right online, I think it's 312, 512. It says subject to.
Okay.
That's where the title company puts it in there.
So can I ask him a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, damn, I thought, so how are you getting 20 in a year? I mean, you know what I mean? I'm trying to know.
Networking, I have people bring me deals like every day. I just bought 3 in March. Sold one of them. I sold one of them on a land installment contract. That's another way you can make money.
Yeah.
You lose out on the appreciation part of it, but you get money now, and you're basically the bank for the buyer. Like I bought one in Hyattsville. It just closed. I bought it on March 8th, and I sold it Tuesday.
Right.
For less than a month. I bought it for $240 at 4%, and I sold it for $280. I put down $15,000, 5 to the seller, 5 to the wholesaler, and 5 to closing costs. And my buyer gave me $40,000 now. So up front, I'm already making $25,000.
Wow.
And then I gave him a 10-year loan. So my 4% will give him a 10-year loan, but I charged him 8.5%. So my payment is at $1,100, $1,200 a month. He's paying me $2,200 a month.
Wow.
So on that one deal that I did in less than 30 days, I made, and it was a rundown house, so it wasn't anything special. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, corner lot in Hyattsville. But I made 25 up front, and I'll make $1,000 a month, so that's $12,000 a year times 10 years. That's 120. So one deal, that's 145,000, and I have no money in it and no risk in it.
But the beauty to me is the appreciation.
Yes.
And it's appreciation as well. So depends on the deal. If I don't want to keep it, that was one I didn't want to keep. I just wanted to get in and out of it real quick.
Right.
You can do those deals, and now you're at the bank. You don't have to worry about any of the landlord headaches, property management, anything like that.
So on that deal where you're going to buy it and hold it, would you have bought it in the same manner if it had no equity?
No. And that's another reason why I didn't do that one, because there was no equity. I bought it.
I would buy it with no equity.
I bought it
For
with
the
no
cash
equity,
flow.
but I didn't want to fix it up.
If I had cash flow and no equity, but no money out of my pocket, I'm buying that all day long.
And then they catch up
Somebody tell me why.
because they appreciate it.
Appreciation.
Yeah.
But would you hold it as like a lease option? Like how would you exit that?
I don't know. I'd probably hold it forever.
Yeah.
I would have to hold it for at least 10 years to let the equity catch up through
Like a
appreciation.
lease? Like
Huh?
a regular lease?
Yeah, I would rent it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rent it out.
I think for some people that want to invest, they don't want to deal with the day-to-day of fixing issues with the house, right? Like the sink breaks, they'll call it to address those issues. So one of the things that people try to do, if you want to really be an investor and not have to deal with it day-to-day, is do some such as a lease option so that you're not bogged down with these typical tenant issues.
Well, what makes subject to so sweet is because even if it's not a lot of equity in the property, you know what I mean? You can still buy that property for the simple fact that, just like what he's saying, it's going to appreciate. You can rent it out, cash flow. You got a property that you can make money on, that you really didn't have to put anything out of pocket or anything. So it's still a win-win. But it's all about numbers in real estate. You know what I mean? So
And don't forget, the key to your success is asset accumulation.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we want we want to buy properties with $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 in equity. But sometimes it's what's more realistic in some of the deals that we do, they don't have any equity in them. As long as we put little to no money out of our pocket, as long as it's cash flowing, I just told you appreciation is getting ready to explode. That's going to catch up. You need to accumulate. I mean, I can give you examples of houses that I bought it for this price, this amount. Now I've got, a few $100,000 in equity or $1 million in equity. And it's just the longer you hold on to the properties, as long as we're in an economy where we're getting appreciation, it's a win-win. It's just a win-win. And then we want that property cash flow. That's why real estate is the number one investment that you will ever make in your life, better than the stock market, better than anything. Seek professional advice, legal advice, seek guidance, but get started. Last thing, go ahead, Wayne.
I was gonna say another way that kind of is a hybrid of doing a quick sale like I did on that one and keeping it long term, like you mentioned, is a lease with option or rent with option upon it. That way you get somebody in there, they give you a down payment that they says they can buy it in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? And then you agree on a number now, or you have clauses in there if the market does go up, that you do a new appraisal in 5 years. So that's kind of a hybrid of a quick sale where you get some money back now.
No, that's perfect. Lease with an option to buy and with the option to sublease. And so no, that's good. But only if you can lock into the number right now. Lock into the sales price today.
I'm saying when I sell them as well.
Oh, you're gonna do a lease option when you sell them?
I buy them on lease options too.
Okay, yeah.
But selling as well. Because if people don't perform, or they can't get their own loan, you can always extend it, or you keep their down payment.
Right. All right, last question. And we talked about this earlier, but you guys throw it out to me. We talked about subject to and creative financing. How are we going to find these deals? How do we go out today and find these deals today? Let's just write these things down. So that's A way. D for D. How else are we going to find these creative financing deals?
Cold calling.
Who are we cold calling?
Pre-foreclosures, motivated sellers, absentee owners,
Tired landlord.
child landlords, sometimes divorce. I don't know,
Out of state.
I think a good lead would be a person that doesn't have any equity in the property and they want to exit. So like for sale by owner and there's no equity, so you would have to find a way to do that with prop stream or prop wire or just like a.
So in prop wire, you can put absentee owner, low equity. So that's good. So the number one marketing channel you guys didn't even mention. What's the number one marketing channel for the real estate investor?
Facebook?
Social media.
No. Postcards. Postcards are the number one marketing channel for investors and for agents. Postcards. Targeted postcards with a predicted list is the number one marketing channel. We talked about it earlier. That's gonna have a better return on investment than any other marketing channels, postcards. Any other tools? So we talked about prop wire. That's going to give you free data where you can stack the data. Prop stream is not free, but does the same thing. And then you gradually get to 80/20, REI, and data flick. That's going to cost you more money, but it's going to be better predictive data. But you gradually get into that. You go from free, now you close a couple deals in the next 60 to 90 days. And then you keep going up to you can afford the best data. And so for what we do, you guys, It's about, did I say 80? Yeah, 80/20 REI or data flick. So they have the data scientists, PhDs that that they get the data, they put it in a computer, and then they use AI tools to be able to predict using courthouse data and other data points to be able to predict when someone's going to sell. That's the data that we want. But you may not be able to afford $2,500 a month. But let's get there, because even though you're spending that, you're selling more properties because that data is predicted. And then networking. We've got to network. We've got to let the whole world know that this is what we do so that we can get referrals. You want to have a referral-based business.
Do they still do bird dog?
So what we're talking about are the best data marketing channels. We always bird dog. We always let people know what we do and let them find us deals and give them a piece of the deal, small piece of the deal or a referral fee. So bird dogging is a marketing channel, but bird dogging is not predicted. We want to predict our success and to predict our future. So we want predictive data. Bird dogging is, I might get a call here, I might get a call there.
People out there hustling, really, is what it is. You're using the
You
computer
can't-
to find stuff,
Right.
data, bird dogging people out there on the streets,
Knocking
talking
on
to people,
doors.
finding deals and bringing them to you. I get a lot of deals that way too.
I mean, we get a lot of deals. Yeah, we get a lot of deals that way.
Another way too that you could do it too is I go to the auction in Oklahoma every Tuesday.
Oh, that's good.
And you actually find people who are in pre-foreclosure but just wanted to find out what might eventually happen to their home. So just by talking to people and investors right there
Hold up. You say you find people standing out there at the auction?
that are not right.
The actual homeowner.
The actual homeowners that are not they're in pre-foreclosure. So their property is not being sold, but they want to know what is the next step. So they come just to be curious.
Okay. I might need to start hanging around.
All right, you guys. Any questions about anything that we've done or that we've talked about?
And I had some great. If y'all haven't already, Greg has a great coaching program, and it's all about really getting the education, because we talk about subject to creative finance and stuff like that, but if you don't know really how to go about getting started and stuff like that, you need a coach. And it could, because it sounds easy, and it is easy once you learn, but it is steps to it. So you got to get educated first. You know what I mean?
Keith, why don't you jump in?
Thanks for that segue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect segue.
Yeah. So guys, some of you in here may hear all of this expert talk here and say, I can't do that or whatever. And we understand that. You need to be in a coaching program or consider so that you can have your hand held and really get the information. We're not just some run-of-the-mill coaching program. We think we're pretty good. You're hearing the expert knowledge. Let's give them a round of applause. And you're also you're seeing success stories. You're hearing.
There's more.
success stories.
Dana. He
Dana.
doesn't. Look at Dana. He don't look like he.
Stand up, Dana.
Only thing Dana cares about is the HVAC system. Dana, tell him a little bit about our coaching program.
Well, it has helped me tremendously. It's changed my life, actually. I had jumped in about 3 years ago. Came to Greg's sessions and just kept watching Greg. And once I realized I could trust him, because that's important. Because a lot of people are selling programs, selling information, but can you really trust them? That means a lot to me. So once I was satisfied with that, I signed on, and it's changed my whole life. He's taught me, he's held my hand. My coach Keith has held my hand, pushes me. It's been great for me. It's been a life change.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
So let me just add to that. So, and we have other coaching students, either past or current in here today. You can jump in the water and not worry about drowning, because you're going to have coaches, you're going to have experts here to make sure you don't drown, to make sure that you don't spend the money that you have set, but you shouldn't really be spending money. You're going to get that advice. And that's kind of one of the hallmarks, is that we're all going to hold your hand. I think when you join the program, we know that everyone has a unique situation. Everyone's not ready to buy right now. Maybe we need to start out wholesaling. So now you need a strategy in which to do that. So we understand that, and we customize the coaching as well. We do have a kind of a scripted start for your first 8 weeks when you come into our program, where you know exactly what you should be doing in those first 2 months, and on and on and on. Investor toolkit. Greg talks about the contracts that we have. So we have many contracts and many how-tos. We've got all of that ready. You'll get a link, and you'll have all that information there for you. Greg often says this, but we don't want you to come here and leave and not take action. We have to take action. We got to knock on some doors, make some calls. We got to market ourselves. And so let us help you with that. My only ask right now, I'm going to be here where we can talk more and I can give you more details, but set an appointment with me. Let's talk about it. Half hour, and I'll give you more information on that, see where you are and where you're trying to go. That's another thing that Greg does that he doesn't talk much about, is scaling your business. So you're here. How do you get to be here? How do you get to be at $3 million or whatever cash flowing within 4 or 5 years? Well, let Greg help you. Let us help you.
There's a community of people that will help you.
Yeah.
We've got all the resources. If you want to get to your ultimate goal a lot faster and minimize the mistakes that I made, you've got to have some type of coaching. I mean, I have coaches. I'm in masterminds, and it's for the reason, my reasoning is I'm getting to my goals a lot faster than I could have on my own, and I'm minimizing the mistakes. And that's one thing that I've learned.
So one thing you guys could do is join our community, join the Bennett Boot Camp's community page on Facebook. If you're not there, do that today. It doesn't cost you anything, and at least you'd be a little bit more connected. And just a reminder to your surveys, we're always interested in what content you want to learn about. So make sure that you fill out the survey. This will also lead to you perhaps winning the prize today that we have.
So we got 2 gift cards that we're giving away. And so we're going to pull it out of a box. And so you guys fill out your surveys. All right,
Well,
anything
guys,
else?
we could talk more. I'll be here. We want to help you. Let us help you. Even at the strategy session that we can have, it's at least going to get you started to do something, so that you don't waste this time.
All right, last, we know about the NAR commission settlement. Everybody's familiar with that. It's a good thing in my view. It allows us to focus on what we should have been focusing on anyway. As real estate agents, dealing with properties, dealing with real estate, the focus, and a lot of you guys, Wayne, and a lot of you other guys, Dwayne, we know that part of being a real estate agent should be investing. I like to say that we make a great living listing and selling houses, but we become wealthy investing. And these guys get it. These guys, I've been around Wayne for a long time. We get it. I mean, I got into real estate to learn how to invest better. And so now that's part of the focus. The other part of the focus needs to be on listings. You're on the winning side with listings. We will get our buyers from our listings, but we have to have strategies to get listings. Other streams of income. Let's maximize the opportunities with each one client that we have. And we know how to do that in many different ways. And then with the money that we're making, we're going to buy properties to hold to prepare ourselves for retirement. One thing that realtors don't talk about is retirement and retirement strategies. Now we have to, because especially for the full-time agents, there's no retirement plan as an agent, no retirement plan. We don't set it up. Agents don't set up a retirement plan. And so part of the retirement plan is not just buying and holding real estate. There's having the solo 401k, SEP IRAs, and many other things, annuities that we will be teaching. So it's those 4 pillars. And so we want you to join our brokerage along with that, or by the way, you keep 100% of your commission. And so we have Alfredo, our recruiter here. Why don't you say a few words, Alfredo?
Sure, no, thank you, appreciate it, thank you very much. So that's a lot of good information you guys are getting here today. To me as well, this is the first session that I'm actually listening on, and I'm certainly excited as well. So I'm certainly gonna take in a lot of the good information, and as well as Keith, thank you very much. For those of you who are real estate agents, I know you're coming from other companies as well, but at the end of the day, we are all here to make money. Isn't that the reason we got into real estate? We said to ourselves, I want to make some money, right? I want to have some free time. Yes. Well, here it is. Today, you have the opportunity to join Bennett Realty and the boot camps. You have to understand that they are looking out for you. Our clients are our agents. That is you. You are the bloodline of our business. But at the end of the day, we are here to make sure that you have all the tools necessary to be successful in today's real estate market. Yes, we are in a down market per se, depending on who you ask, if it's a buyer or seller. But at the end of the day, it is true. You must be certainly investing in the future. It is the best time to buy. Prices will increase. Yes, they will. Prices have always increased. Real estate is the #1 investment. That is absolutely correct. With that said, again, my name is Alfredo Duque. I am the new sales manager here with Bennett Realty Solutions, and I'm glad to be a part of it. The gentleman here, he's a visionary. He's a pioneer. 100% real estate as well as an investment, which is additional to I'm telling you, this guy right here. This guy. You too.
No, I'm learning from him.
But listen,
We all still learning. I'm learning.
we are all learning. But at the end of the day, don't we also have to be ahead of the market? Yes. Are we also looking to see what's in it for me, what's coming tomorrow? Well, here it is. We're giving it to you today. It's straightforward. There are no punches. We have agents who've already been doing this. They will continue to do so. Why not you? So please take the time today to meet with one of us. Ask us. We will gladly sit down with you. We will set up an appointment. And if you'd like to join our company, I'd be more than glad to speak to you as well. Okay? Any questions on the real estate side? No? Sir?
All right.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you,
You too.
Alfredo.
Thank you.
Let's give Alfredo a hand.
Thank you.
So look, you guys can go to joinbrs.com to schedule an appointment just to see if it's a good fit. Joinbrs.com, or like Alfredo said, he's going to be here. If you want to talk to him, he can schedule an appointment. So look, you guys, there's opportunity out here. We've got to take advantage of it. The first quarter of the year is over with. And so you may or may not feel like you've this first quarter, you've taken advantage of it, or you're on par to your goals. But let's set goals. Let's figure out who can help us with these goals, and let's go for it. Let's live up to our fullest potential. And you guys have the ability. Your excuse is not, I don't have anybody around me that can help me. That's most people's excuse. That is not your excuse. The reason why you're not going to succeed is because you didn't take action. Because we're here to help you. And in most cases, it's free. We do have coaching programs. We've got the brokerage. But if you call me and ask me questions like many of you guys do, I'm happy to help. If I'm available, I will go to the properties with you. I will put deals together. And so your excuse is not, I don't have the resources. There's nobody around me that can teach. I'm iron. I don't have other iron around me. We know iron sharpens iron. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
That's good enough. And so let's take advantage of this opportunity. We kind of laid out how you're going to find these opportunities. We gave you guys sort of a flavor on how to put these deals together. We will help you. Let's go out tomorrow and find deals. Homework. Let's join PropWire. Go to propwire.com, free of charge.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pull a list, free of charge. Stack the data. Mhm. PropWire. Let's look into different postcard services. I like to use REI Mail. What's the thing? It's just REI. I'll think of it. Anyway, reiprintmail.com. I also use Postcard Mania. I tend to lean towards REI Print Mail. I've got some mailers going out. Let's take this information, like he said, let's not let this time that we just spent an hour and a half go in vain. Let's take this information and run with it. You guys can do it. Look at Wayne. He ain't nothing special. Just look at him. If Wayne can do it,
He's killing it.
if Wayne can kill it, you guys can too. If Wayne just took it upon himself to learn, and then after he learned, guess what he did? He took action, and he is not afraid to take action. And so let's be like Wayne. Let's be like Dana. Let's be like Andre, and let's take action. Let's change our lives this year. This year needs to be our best financial year ever, with no excuses. Okay, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Let's go. Let's go, you guys. All right, two things. We have some lunch in the back, but I think before we do that, Beverly, can you bring up the box? Let's do the raffle real quick. Beverly's going to walk through, and if you guys have a survey, put it in there. We've got some gift cards for you guys. Those of you guys that are online, contact me. You guys can go to my Instagram, Greg Bennett Invest. You can go to my scheduler. What is it? gbschedule.com or to Keith Scheduler if you're interested in coaching, KB Schedule. But you can DM me. You can also go to, if you're interested in our brokerage, you can go to joinbrs.com. All right, you guys online. Let's take action, you guys. Call me if you want me to help you with the deal and to JV with you. I'm happy to JV. All right, we're signing off online. You guys take care.
Hey, for you guys that are here, the food is in the back.